Welcome, Satjeet. Welcome, Andrea.
Hi, thank you so much for having us here and nice to meet you.
Likewise. And before we get started, I'd like to spend a couple of minutes here just introducing you to both to everybody here. Andrea and Satjeet are the co-owners of Nectar Yoga. What a lovely name. An idea that was born during a year abroad on an India train ride. Their personal quest to explore ancient methods of self-awareness from around the world became a life-changing journey of ashram immersion, a doctrine in Raja Yoga system, and a deep appreciation for the natural world and connecting to the body's inner rhythms. The countryside and its characteristic sense of community and simplistic living stirred a yearning for a similar experience back home in Canada, one that offered connection to nature, yoga, and meditation practices, a simple yet vibrant healing experience that nourishes body and spirit. After searching, they found Bowen Island and Nectar Yoga was born. Here, there was direct immersion with the forest, the water, the elements, and the stars. Andrea is a visionary with a deep desire to lead people to witnessing their own distinctly unique wholeness through grounded, embodied physical techniques and lesser known esoteric practices. Her yoga journey began from the necessity to know herself. She has studied and practiced yoga, meditation, Pilates, shamanic journeying, soul connection, ancestral healing, and plant spirit remembering, all with the intention to fully know herself and to live herself and her life authentically. Satjeet is the co-owner of Nectar Yoga. His daily meditation practice and study of the dream space has led to deepening of his own inner wisdom and to facilitating many silent retreats on Bowen Island and abroad. They will be co-presenting today the manifestation power of a conscious relationship. And with folded hands, I welcome you both to the Meditation Demystified conference stage. Stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Mahesh. Really appreciate that. And we are truly honored to be invited to speak at this wonderful conference. And so I do want to start off by acknowledging and recognizing and thanking in particular Mahesh, yourself, and Beverly for putting on this wonderful conference. I think many of us know just how much work and effort and energy goes into these types of events. And so thank you so much. And to all the other members that have been a part of facilitating this. Thank you so much. And like I said, we're just honored to have the opportunity to speak today. I also obviously want to thank the attendees and the participants. I think it goes without saying that without them, this conference probably really wouldn't happen. So thank you very much for participating not only in this talk, but of course in the conference over the last couple of days. So thank you so much and gratitude. And I also would be amiss if I didn't start by giving a sense of gratitude and thanks to all of the meditation teachers, both in the past and the present and the future. And it's just, it's so wonderful to be a part of that community, to experience meditation in my own life and the transformative experience that has been and the role it's played and how that is carrying through in our life and in our society. It's so wonderful that those links and those connections still exist, maybe in a different form, maybe not exactly as we've witnessed them in the past, but they are being carried forward. And I'm just grateful to be a part of that link. So thank you to the teachers, of course. And Mahesh did such a wonderful job giving the intro, so we can bypass that. But I'm Satjeet, Pandher, just to reiterate that, co-owner of Nectar Yoga Retreat on beautiful Bowen Island, just outside of Vancouver. I've had a dedicated meditation practice for a little over a decade now. We will get into that a little bit in our talk, and really the purpose of our talk, we'll get into that in a moment as well. But I'll pass it off to Andrea
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Clark, and I'm also the co-owner of Nectar Yoga, as well as a student of life and a practitioner of meditation, which is ever evolving, and it is a lifelong path, and one probably for many, many more lifetimes that I'll never really know the depth of the practice. But I'm humbled to be here to share with you, just to share a little bit about our journey as inspiration for those who are here live today, but for those who are also listening back in the replay. I hope that you can find some wisdom and some potency to our words. And the goal really of our share today is to inspire others to walk on their most authentic path in this lifetime, and to really call down into the world in a physical way what you want to manifest in a relationship, in your job, in your life. So that's the purpose of why we're here today. And thank you so much for joining us.
Land recognition?
So I'm going to start with a land recognition. So I'd love us to find a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. If you're in a chair, you can just scooch a little bit away from the chair back so your spine is unsupported and your torso is long. If you're on the floor with crossed legs, just elevate a little through the pelvis, or even lie down if that feels most intuitive for you. And just start with closing your eyes. And so when we close our eyes, we can really more deeply attune to the awareness within the framework of the body. And with the eyes closed, just begin with noticing the space that you've chosen to listen to this talk today. Notice the energy of the space. Notice any sounds or smells. Just become aware of the physical structure of the home or the room that you're in. Notice how it feels. And then bring your awareness more inward to the home of the body, the first land that we know. And to more deeply attune our awareness to the physical, just begin to watch the rise of your inflow breath and the fall of the breath that moves out. Notice as you attune your awareness to that breath that it may want to deepen naturally. Don't force anything, but do allow a sense of flow to wash through you and over you by this awareness of breath. And as you breathe, notice the seat underneath of you and how the body touches down to that seat and anchors. Keep the breath flowing and bring the awareness to the earth that is beneath your seat. If you're in more of a high-rise building, just zoom all the way down to where the foundation touches the earth. And then in your mind's eye, just visualize the land around you without needing to open your eyes. From a place of knowing, notice where you reside today. And we give reverence and thanks and gratitude for being guests on this land. And if you don't know, make it your homework to find out who were the first people that knew this land, that lived on this land, that knew the water, the trees, the sky, that lived in harmony with the land that you are on. Today, as an example, Satjeet and I reside and live and work and play and humbly practice on Bowen Island, which is the modern name. And the indigenous name, which I'm still learning the exact pronunciation of, but I'll humbly try to pronounce it, is Nalelehuam. And we call forward this first name, the name that the indigenous people knew for this island. And this is the traditional and unceded territory of the Squamish Nation people. And we thank them for caring for this land and knowing this land. And we give deep gratitude for being guests here. Bring your hands to touch in the center. Draw the chest to the thumbs and lift your heart to your thumbs. And just take a moment to bow. Bow to all of the indigenous people around the world who unfortunately have been put to a diminished state, who have been limited in their ability to practice and know through colonialization and through settling on their land. And we offer thanks and prayers and healing so that we can start to create more open conversation and relationship with the first people that walked the land on this whole entire planet. May we reconnect. Release your palms and gently open your eyes. And so when we do this land recognition, it can become a little bit robotic at times. And I want Sat to speak to how we make it more respectful and more our own, really.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. That was beautiful. We're fortunate to live in a part of the world where land recognition is a fairly common practice now in gatherings, and that's a beautiful thing. But I think the unfortunate part is at times that can become a bit robotic, as Andrea mentioned, and sort of connecting to the deeper understanding or the deeper reasoning behind doing land recognitions can be lost at times. And so I guess I just want to take this opportunity to encourage all of us to use land recognition as a chance to reflect on your own relationship with the indigenous lands with which you are on. It could be, and those indigenous peoples could be your own ancestors, but just reflecting on our relationship and perhaps shedding any unhealthy stereotypes or connotations or connections that we hold to those first peoples, and just building on that relationship and taking that opportunity when we do land recognitions. That would be wonderful. So as Andrea mentioned, the purpose of the talk is not for us to just share our journey and our story and just talk about ourselves. That's certainly not necessarily something I'm comfortable with. So that's not the intention. The intention definitely is to use our journey and our life story as an example and a way for you to see your greatest potential as well. As creative beings, as human beings, we all carry such amazing potential, and it's really just about living up to that potential, that highest potential that's in all of us. And so hopefully our journey and our example of our story can help you take a little something away to inspire you to say, yeah, you know what, these two schmucks can do it, so can I. And that would be our greatest joy if that's what you take away from this next 20 minutes or so that we have together. So I'll start our journey. Our journey began a little over a decade ago, before Andrea and I actually met. I was very fortunate in that the universe gave me a nice little kick at a pretty pivotal point in my life. And I think that a lot of people that I meet on the spiritual path, or people that are on the journey of self-awareness, share their similar story of that kick that the universe gives you, and you have a choice. You can continue on whatever path you're on, or you get taken away on this wonderful journey. And for me, at that moment, it seemed like I had a successful life from all checking all the boxes, so to speak, and it seemed all wonderful. But there was a deep discontentment that was creeping into my life that I wasn't aware of, completely unconscious. Universe gives me a kick, and it just, whoa, right, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. Now, what do I want to do about it? And so that began this lovely decade-long journey that I'm continuing today. And it started with yoga and different meditation practice and so on and so forth. And very quickly, it became clear to me that in order to live my life to my fullest potential, I would want very much a partner who would also understand that and be rooted in that in some way. And so started putting out a very fairly detailed and clear list, as did Andrea. It's too bad we never kept our initial sort of profile, but it was rather humorous in the sense of how like specific it was. I'm sure, well, anyhow, people had their opinions about it, but it worked. Here we are. And it was online. We met online, which 10 years ago or over a decade ago was kind of an odd thing. Andrea still jokes, she's like, it would have been a much more romantic story. Could we say that we met at a grocery aisle of an organic grocery store or a lineup of a grocery store? But that wasn't the case. The universe had a different way, and it is what it is. So here we are. So that began our journey. But our first several months together were horrible. They were just full of tension, full of so many challenges. It was not this love at first sight story. It was a challenging story, and we reflect back on it and we think like, geez, why did we stay together? What kept us together? Because it was not enjoyable. It was quite frankly very, very challenging. But again, just grateful that there was something there, something that both of us recognized, something much, much deeper that we were connected with, that we needed to work through. We needed to continue on. And so very early on, I got to learn about Andrea's spontaneous, let's go do that. And so she, I guess, had this idea, for a period of time that she wanted to go do a 10-day silent meditation retreat. Now, obviously I had been practicing meditation a little bit, and so I was comfortable and I said, yeah, sure, let's go do this. Not knowing anything about it in terms of specifics. And so we went off to the silent meditation retreat, not knowing what it was. It was 10 days of silence, and it was a couple hours away from where we live. And we got in this huge fight on the way there, just a big blow up. And it was like, okay. So we enter into this meditation retreat thinking, you know what, I'm going to get through these 10 days, whatever, and then we're done. We're going to part our ways, never talk to each other again. It's going to be great. So, we sit down again, for me in particular, not knowing anything of what I was getting myself into, thinking silence, it's going to be hard not to talk and all this kind of stuff. And very quickly you realize, oh, not talking, that's the easy part. It's this thing between the ears that won't stop talking, that's the difficult part. So first 3 or 4 days was just really rehashing and all the, oh, I'm so angry and blaming Andrea for this and that and all these other things. And then slowly around day 4 or 5, and this is a beautiful part about meditation, it just unfolds like an onion. It just uncovers layer after layer through a lot of effort, but through that effort, little bits of wisdom began to creep up. Oh, right. Maybe the anger isn't Andrea's fault. Maybe there's something more to that. And as the days went on, it became very apparent that it's me. It's me, the mind, the ego, the emotions that I carry and the baggage that I was bringing. Got it. Okay, so it's me. It's not Andrea. Okay, cool. We get to the 10th, or it's actually 12 days, but anyhow, the final day, and eternally grateful for that experience. It was truly transformative in terms of my life, and from that day forward, have carried that meditation practice and continue it to this day. But more importantly, or as importantly, I suppose, by the end of the 10 days, we were madly in love, in a very deep rooted sense. And it allowed us to set the foundation for our relationship from that moment forward, and really carry it into all aspects of our life, and certainly to allow us to be a part of creating like sort of the conduit for creating Nectar Yoga Retreat on Bowen Island. And so I'll pass it off to Andrea to tell a little bit more about how this kind of came to be from that.
So there's so many more pieces to this beautiful story, but we'll try to keep it brief and concise. But one thing I wanted to add to what Satjeet shared is, when we came out of our time, which by the way, just to say specifically what we did, many of you will be familiar with the Vipassana Organization, which was lovingly created by our beloved teacher, who we've never met in person, but definitely in spirit, Goenkaji. So we give reverence and gratitude to him for building this amazing international organization that is completely funded by donation. And There's no exchange of money up front. It's all based on your experience and what you can lovingly offer at the end. And if that's nothing, but it's just giving your time, that's also welcomed. And yeah, it's a very pure, beautiful organization, in my opinion. And so at the end, we didn't have to say anything. It was beyond words what we had experienced. We just looked at each other and smiled and gave each other the biggest hug that we got in trouble for, because you're not supposed to touch anyone. But I didn't care, because I wanted to share through energy and connection, and just through knowing that we both came to the same realization that it's ultimately within you. You are the creator of your reality, how you perceive the world and how you live your life, and what you can do and what you cannot do, and who you attract and who you're supposed to be with. And Sat and I are very real in understanding in relationship as well, that you can pick this guy, or you can pick this guy, or this girl, or they, or them. And at the end of the day, if you're trying to have a conscious relationship, you need to work through all that relationship karma with someone. So pick that one and walk hand in hand with them, and try to live the most full life that you can. And really for us, it's through meditation that helped us on that journey. So we went on this meditation journey, we came back, and everything really changed. And for me, one of the big revelations that I had was the career that I was in, which I spent 10 years working in and devoting my time and my love and my energy to. I was in design, which is something that's very close to my heart. I'm a very creative person. But for me, sitting behind a computer for 8 to 10 hours a day, it really was kind of soul sucking as opposed to filling my well. So I realized that I needed to make a change. But as a strong, independent woman who had a career and a wage and a lifestyle that matched that wage, it's very, very scary to take a leap of faith and make a switch. And I know many people struggle with this, because we live in a world where we have to have money, and well, most of us anyways, and where we have lifestyles that match this money. And so you can't just up and leave your job, most people. But it was really the shift in perspective and my daily meditation practice that I kept getting very clear messages. Andrea, you need to do something different. So one of my good friends was working in St. Lucia, which is a beautiful island in the West Indies. It's a gorgeous place. And there was an opening there for a meditation, yoga, and Pilates teacher full-time. And I did not tell Satjeet about this because of all the self-doubt that I had. I didn't believe that they would want someone as young as me, as naive as me. I didn't have enough to share. I didn't have enough wisdom. I didn't have enough teaching experience. These are all the things that I told myself. But at the same time, there was an opportunity to have an interview. So this is a time of Skype. I know that's not around anymore, but we had a Skype call, which is kind of strange. And I met with these two men, and lo and behold, after the call, they sent me an email saying, "We want to hire you. We want you to move to St. Lucia. Come." So I said, oh shit, this is going to be a problem, because I never told my partner that this was even happening. But Sat is a wonderful person, and he's just a calm person in general. That's his nature. And so I told him, and he lovingly said, if this is what you need to do, you should go. So I moved to St. Lucia, and while I was there, we also decided to, I left my job, first of all, and that felt really good. Once I cut that cord, everything opened up for me. It actually required me to take the action step of leaving in order for everything else to unfold. And I think for many, many people, that's the hardest step, obviously, is cutting that. And when I say cutting it, it doesn't mean that you don't think about it. It's not part of your past. It's very much part of who you are, and you take the good pieces with you. But once I made that step, everything else became clear. And so I convinced Sat while I was in St. Lucia to take a leave of absence from his job. He's also a mining engineer. And in his company, which is predominantly male and white and older males who've worked in that industry for a long, long time, people don't take time off. You get a couple weeks vacation a year. Sometimes you take it, sometimes you just get paid out or lose the hours, whatever. But it's a very work, put your head down and go type of industry. And he didn't believe that he could take a leave of absence for a year, but I was like, we need to do this for our relationship and also for ourselves. So we decided to take a journey around the world. We started in India, which is Sat's family's place of origin. And we went to many yoga centers, ashrams, meditation centers. We studied with many beautiful teachers. And as we traveled through India, we learned obviously so much about the world and so much about ourselves. And while we were on this world expedition and tour of self-discovery, we started to think about our life at home. And this is a very broad stroke overview, but essentially we started to really think what we wanted to bring into the world, what we wanted to, what our legacy would be on this planet. Are we just kind of living here and consuming and living unconsciously, or what can we do to make a lasting impact? So long story short, the idea was of Nectar Yoga was born. And really quickly, when I first went to India and did my very first teacher training in an ashram in South India, at the end of the training, at some ashrams, they offer you a spiritual name, which is a name that you can use in life, but it's a name that you also use when you're teaching and when you live in an ashram. And the name that was gifted to me, that was given to me, was Amrita or Amrit. And that's why our business is called Nectar Yoga. And so the idea of Nectar Yoga was born, the seed of Nectar Yoga was planted. So after we did this long journey, we ended in Switzerland at another Vipassana meditation retreat at a beautiful old monastery in the hills. It was amazing. And we came home and we were like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to move to an island or someplace in the trees, and we're going to create this conscious space for people to come and heal. But as we know, our timeline doesn't always matter to the greater perspective of the universe. And so we had to go through a lot of more real life stuff before this could actually come to fruition. And part of it was really getting clear and solid on our relationship, which continues to unfold to this day, and our vision. And so we started looking for properties, and we found Bowen Island, which is a beautiful small island off the coast of Vancouver, 20 minutes by boat. And when we landed here, there was a deep knowing that this is where we needed to start. And we purchased a beautiful small property, and our intention behind the business and behind really our life's work is to create a place where people can come, a womb for people to deeply relax, a place that seeds consciousness, a place that teaches meditation and yoga and esoteric practices, but most importantly, encourages people to learn and listen to the wisdom of the forest and the plants and the water and the air and all of the elements, because nature can be one of our greatest teachers, and it really is mine. And so we've been grateful to have this business for 7 years. We recently purchased a 20-acre property where we've built several standalone cottages and a main lodge. And pre-pandemic, and hopefully soon, we will be hosting many more retreats for people to come and to rewild and reconnect to the true essence of who they and we really are. And with that, that's a little bit about our journey.
I would add a couple things. For me, it's been an interesting, a particularly interesting journey in the sense that I have a fairly logical, trained mind, I would say, due to our education system. And so, you know, the leap from our previous property or previous home to where we sit now was magic. Would be, you know, when we talk about manifestation being magic, I got to witness and experience that personally, and it really comes back to our practice, our understanding of the why behind what we were doing. And, you know, I would add that sort of manifestation requires that sort of the two cousins of manifestation are intention and volition. And, you know, you have to be very clear of your intention, but you also have to have the right volition. And that's been my experience of it. And so this space came to be, you know, the money showed up, the construction happened at some ridiculous pace that we were like, we can't get it done, or we don't know. But truly, the universe sort of carried us through this. It's like, well, you're just the people that are doing this. Don't worry about it. Just go do it. And that's a difficult thing for my mind to understand, and to really be like, really? Okay. But to experience that was truly magical. And I remember a point where I was like, if this project actually gets done by this date, yeah, I'm a believer into whatever that doubt that I had, and truly it happened. So it was pretty magical. But, you know, just remember the concept of manifestation requiring a clear intention and the right volition. And the volition is really about the why behind, you know, what it is that you're seeking. And all of that clarity, all of that wisdom comes through in your meditation practice. And that's been my experience, truly. So I would add that.
Mm-hmm.
And now,
just because we're getting close to time and there's so much more that we would love to say, but I would like us to lead us through a little meditation. This practice will be one that includes some visualization and some intention setting. So you can choose if you want to sit up or lay down. Lying down might be a good option, but if you're not in a room that allows for that, just find a comfortable seat. And again, just take a moment to close your eyes and notice how you feel. Every moment we're in a state of change and evolution and growth and decay and turning. This impermanence that we can't get away from, so we should learn how to accept it through our body and our practice. And as you settle here, and as you listen to the words of another, the story of another, what does it spark in you? Is there something in your life that you have been trying to bring down from the thought plane into the physical world that hasn't quite come here yet? And the question really is, what is it that I deeply desire? And you can there might be many, many things, but today we'll narrow it down to one. So ask your heart the question, what do I deeply desire? This can be a state of mind. This can be something in your life, a physical object or a person, particular situation. Just see what comes through. And hold that intention, that seed in the space of your heart. And when we speak of the heart, I'm not referring to the anatomical one, but the energetic one. So in the center of your chest, if you're not sure, or if it doesn't feel that alive to you at the moment, you can actually place one hand over the chest and hold that intention here. If it's a word or a particular object, you can place the word there or visualize that, which you want to call in. And just hold that and come to your breath. And start to feel the breath moving with a little more intention, a little more depth in the place of the heart. As you breathe, Begin to feel the breath expanding into the upper lungs, the side, and the back body, three-dimensionally. And as you exhale, feel that slow contraction towards your own middle. Breathe in. Feel that three-dimensional growing light illumination. And exhale, feel a softening. And as you breathe like this in an intentional, rhythmic, deep and full way, feel that you are breathing life, prana, chi, into that intention that's held in the space of the heart. And as you breathe into whatever that is, notice how it makes you feel as you integrate the intention into your physical body. If it's an object, how does it feel when you can touch it and hold it? If your intention is a state of mind, what happens in your life? What is the rhythm, the pulsation of this mindset as it actually settles into the mind and the body? How does it feel when this becomes real for you today? Where do you feel it in your body? There might be a particular sensation, a tingling, a pulsing, some heat. There might be a color or an image. Just notice how you feel as you breathe. And just trust that through your practice, through visualization, through writing, through getting really clear with yourself and real with yourself, we clear away all the clutter and the clingings to the past that no longer serve us, the unintentional binds we create to other people or circumstances. And we start to open into a space of creativity and flow and love. But it takes determination and it takes clarity and deep intention. So just release that visualization and sit with your body and trust that as you move through the rest of the day and walk intentionally towards the direction of your dreams, that everything good is flowing towards you and the path will be clear. To close, bring your palms to touch in the center in Anjali Mudra. And we'll just repeat a little prayer, repeating after me. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. May the thoughts, words, and actions of our own lives contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. And so it is. Take one deep inhale into the space of your heart and feel that you're really breathing your whole body. And as you exhale, just bow to this beautiful body, the house of our bright spirit, and again to this amazing land that we sit and work and live on. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. Release your palms, and in your own time, allow the eyes to open back into the room. Let the light shine in. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for, again, giving us the opportunity to speak and be a part of this wonderful conference. We can open up to questions, Mahesh, if we want to. If we do have time, if anyone has questions.
Absolutely. There's a couple of questions here, and I'd also like to give Beverly an opportunity to say hello, because she's the one who orchestrated this whole thing for both of you to be here and to share your amazing story. So Beverly.
I just really quickly want to touch in because, for one, I'm in a very soft space right now after that. My heart is wide open. The two of you have created something of beauty. And it's not so much that it's a pleasure to bring people to the space that you've created. And when I say space, I mean a container that holds everyone in their hearts. It's not just a pleasure to bring them there, it's an honor, because when we are there, it is undeniable that you do this from the right place.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you.
Gratitude.
That'll keep us going.
Yeah, it definitely shows, right? As far as the passion and even the vulnerability with which you're able to speak to this and reflect back on where you were and where you are and where you're looking to go, right? It's amazing. So thank you for sharing all of that. And it's really interesting. As I was listening to you, there were moments that would just come out as far as even this conference. When we thought of what it is we wanted to do with this conference, the initial thing was like, why would multiple people of different disciplines and different methods and practices want to come into the same place and teach? Typically, you'd find most of the conferences doing either meditation or breath work or something really detailed and deep. So just coming into this and just giving people a variety of this, and listening to all the messages that we're getting, it's incredible, right? It's like these different things that you might not think work well together. When you guys went to that Vipassana retreat and said, well, it's not going to work. It's a good thing you didn't know what Vipassana was before you went in, because you'd be like, there's no way I'm going to Vipassana. Right? So it's amazing. So some things happen for the reason they do. And likewise, in the same way, this conference has happened for, I'm not even sure what originally started it other than just this thought, and then sharing with Beverly, sharing with Catherine, and a whole bunch of others. Everybody started resonating and said, yes. We got teachers who came in and started wanting to be here. And likewise with you guys, I'm sure. And I heard from Beverly, I didn't get to meet you before, but when I heard from Beverly, she said the same. So I really appreciate you sharing your wonderful story together. And we wish both of you the best for Nectar Yoga and for the land that you're in and all for the people who are there. Thank you so much.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Thank you.
Likewise.
And one of our other beloved teachers is now here, Carolyn. And this is honestly just to close, like, we have met so many amazing people, and it's just so wonderful, the interconnected web of it all and the few degrees of separation. And you know that you're walking your most authentic path when you're aligning with really good people. I feel like that's just a great measuring stick, that you're in the right direction, you're going the right way. And I love it. I'm so grateful to be here. So thank you, everyone.
Can I just read you one thing that by somebody else I know? I just love my little web of beauty here before we switch over to, hi, Carolyn. From Lana, she wrote, you give hope with your joy and your integrity. Many blessings on your relationship. And then she added, Love and Deepest Gaze could be the title of your book.
Okay.
I love it.
I
That's
like
awesome.
that. I didn't know
Wow.
we were writing a book.
Yeah, sorry, I just turned on the chats now. That's amazing. Thank you everyone for the beautiful comments.
Yeah, really nice. Thank you so
Amazing.
much. Gratitude.
There's a
And
book.
there's a comment from Catherine as well.
Amazing.
Catherine, you're on. You can say what it is you wrote.
Oh, sure. Yes. I feel so deeply attuned to walking this path, and I feel like I've been doing it my whole life as well. And I feel like I'm with you in that knowing, and I'm also completely radiant and turned on in beauty and love in your space and receiving you, and happy for the whole world that you're here and, sharing what I've been calling the belovedship path, divine union. Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you both.